Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show.
We just had a selfie party going on.
We had a selfie. You know, someone mentioned selfies, and there we go. We all took one.
It's so funny. It's like, do we have to come back? We're having a good time here.
Great segment. We're done.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Go out to
Can't get any
Facebook.com.
better.
Those we tell everybody, go look at our website on Facebook.com. Go look at any one of them, from the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show Facebook website to Joe, Chris, or Rob, or to any of our guests. You can see all the great times that we're having here.
And speaking of guests,
yes,
we have another one of our great sponsors is here today. Is Miracle Frame. It's Jon Long. Welcome back.
Well, it's good to be back.
You're a two-timer.
Yes, two-timer.
You're a two-timer.
Repeat offender.
It's a rarefied air.
It
a
is. That's
two-timer.
right.
So anyway, kind of tell what you do, and kind of fits in with what we're talking about here. Of course, is maximizing price, and you've got a great product that can help do that inexpensively.
Right. We, for those of our listeners who don't know about our company, we basically frame mirrors in place without tearing them out. Just really dressing up the look of a otherwise plain mirror or a corroding mirror. And when we're talking about fixing up homes, realtors refer us all the time especially when mirrors start getting black around the edges, they have that water damage or rust appearance. Our frames go right over the top of it. When we're done with it, it looks like a brand new mirror. You can't tell the difference. And for minimal dollars and no tear out and no dust and no headache, essentially is the what they love about the product. So
I noticed in those older mirrors because when they cut, or they actually don't cut mirror, you score it and break it,
right.
And so therefore it kind of has this wicking process. It goes up in the silver,
right.
And then, of course, it starts turning black. And people who are living in the house have been there probably 20 years. They probably noticed that all along the bottom, it's all black. So
and the people always come to us and they ask if we can cut it off. And we could if you want to, and if you want to spend the extra time and money and frustration. But the great part about our product is it completely covers it.
Right. And the other thing is, taking that mirror off, a lot of times it's put up with mastic. So you're talking about mastic that's been on the wall for about 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're
going to be repairing. You're going to be repairing sheetrock after
exactly.
that.
Well, curiously enough, the other day I was walking through a house with a friend of mine who we were doing the financing for, and she goes, one of the things I want to do, it was an old condominium in the Galleria, and she says, I want to do something different here. And the first thing that popped in my mind when she looked at her bathroom and she saw the typical older mirrors, I said, you need to call Miracle Frame.
There you
go. I said, here's the deal. They were on the show. They're a great sponsor, but guess what they do? And so she'll be contacting you.
Right.
And it's one of those things is you don't realize what it can become until you've seen what it has become based on not only what you do, but also your website. Your website goes over a lot of those differences, the before and afters.
Right.
And you've got a lot of things you can choose from. I mean, a lot of different styles, colors, and it really refreshes up the property.
And it's the hard part about the radio show because we're sitting here talking about it and people have a hard time picturing it until they see the before and after.
You'll notice I've got in my hand here a great-looking frame. Everybody knows.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't – it's hard to explain, without seeing it.
Well, I will tell you.
What's your website, John?
MiracleFrames.com, and that is spelled the word mirror, CLE frames.com.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is that, and Lois, you can back me up on this, is that when people go through and they see something about a house, they start mentally deducting. And so if they see something like mirrors need to be replaced or anything that may be in the car, but they're deducting it a lot higher amount than it actually costs. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely.
And so, again, when you're talking about maximizing your price, why make that desilvering mirror an issue?
Yes,
let's remove that from the equation because it's a real simple process and way to do it.
And when people see the finished product, they don't know that it's not mirrors that cost tens of thousands of dollars. That's the appearance, but we're talking hundreds of dollars versus thousands. So
if I have a 4x6 mirror sitting in a bathroom and you're going to come in and do it, what do you think that would run?
We could installed. You're looking at starting $300 to $350, maybe $400 after tax, installation, trips, everything else. But for what you would pay, go to Michael's and have a custom frame built. Did I just say the name of a company?
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to send them
We
invoice.
invoice
Okay. So what you would pay for a frame is what a lot of times we're going to come out, meet with you, help you pick a frame, and install it for. So.
Well, and one of the things also we talk about this all the time when it comes to improving your property is as home prices continue to grow, they continue to move up in this market. One of the things we're going to start seeing, very similar to what we saw in other areas, is people start questioning, where is the value associated with this? And so a lot of times you can do a very little change. It's a very small cost relative to the cost you can get on the enhancement of your property and those values that we're seeing. And Lois, you can probably talk to this. I mean, that's one of the things that people are starting to see is as home prices are creeping up, what people are looking for is say, and it's happened to me, it's happened to a lot of people, is, but where's the value associated with this? What are the true upgrades? And this can be considered one of those.
Oh, it definitely is, because when they look at it, they're thinking, I've got to hire someone to do this. And then, they're thinking about all the other things added to that. So, and it also adds a great finish look, too. It adds a more custom look.
It's not finished till it's framed.
That almost sounds like a tagline, John. You should roll with that.
One of my favorite, testimonials, if you will, when shortly after we started the company, we had done some work for a pretty large production builder here in Houston, and we did one street, several spec homes on this street. And the builder came up to me a few weeks later, and he said, "John, you sold a house for me." Now, this is in a different market, but still, this was, I guess, about 6 years ago. He said, "John, you sold a house for me." I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, we had a customer who was looking at one of our homes versus a competitor, and he couldn't make up his mind, similar features, similar price per square foot, but all the mirrors in our house were framed, and they weren't framed in the other. And he said the only thing that the one distinguishing difference that kind of was the thing that drew him over the line to make him sign that contract were the mirrors being framed. Now, so the point is, if you frame your mirrors, you'll sell your home. It's that simple.
I've said this multiple times. No one ever buys a whole house; they buy a part of the house.
Right.
And there's something always that's going to be that thing that they get a visceral response to, and they say, "I
never
gotta
know.
have that house."
You never know.
And it's usually because of something that simple.
And just a note, by the way, financing is for the full home, though.
Yes. But the thing, framing is not going to add to the intrinsic value of the home, but it's going to make it more sellable.
That is correct.
I mean, and that's it's just like any kind of decluttering or anything like that is to freshen up the home, like a fresh coat of paint, new carpet, those types of things that you add on. It's not necessarily going to add to the value, but if you're going to be in competition with the house down the street, they're going to pay more for your house because it has those things done. Because people are linear thinkers. They see what they see, and if they see something they don't like, they move on.
Right.
And every once in a while you get a creative person that can visualize it, but for the most part, they don't. They see, if they see dirty, bad carpet, they see bad frames, they start thinking big dollars.
frames.
Well, it's also
My
a
wife-
deduction, yeah.
My wife is one of those people that can look at a room and see all the possibilities and all that sort of thing. I have to have, if I was going to do mirrors, I would have to have every frame that John has so that I can sit there and hold them all up one at a time and go through and say, that's the one I like.
That would be John's job, actually.
Yeah. But that's how, my male brain works. I've got to see the objects that I have to choose from so that I can picture them in the room. That very few people, like you said, have that ability to picture a room and just see the room without anything in it. We have a guest that can do that really well.
Right.
Yes.
But your wife can visualize a new home, can't she?
Yes.
She can
And
visualize
everything
a new home.
associated with that new
All
home.
she needs for that is a blueprint. She can see the whole thing. Yes.
And I see a new home in their future.
She has quite a few blueprints. I know.
John, it's an architectural material. Tell me what it is. It's not wood.
No, it's not wood. We don't use wood or MDF. Our product is a polyresin material. It's very durable in your high moisture environments like your bathroom. You're talking about a frame that's going to be literally right behind running water, steam, heat, humidity, all these things you're going to find in your bathroom, obviously. So we have a very durable product that's going to stand up.
Well, let me ask you, if you have one, can you get one that's blank that a designer could come along and add faux paints to or anything of that nature?
No, all of our frames are pre-finished.
Okay.
And you want them to be that way because
A special process for it?
there is a special process, and for all the things that designers do well, I'm sure they're not wanting to try to make a frame look as pretty as we make it. So,
And
Oh, wow.
there's also some critical components here. One of the first questions, we've talked about this before, people are like, well, why can't I just go down to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and pick up a frame myself and put it in?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the differences between, that kind of option versus what you guys do.
Well, Rob mentioned the mirrors being glued to the wall. That's the first thing. So your mirrors are glued to the wall, and if you were going to traditionally frame them, traditional frames have what's called a rabbet in the back, which is basically a groove that's your piece of art, or in this case, a rabbet. Not
Don't
E.T.
go there, Rich.
yeah, rabbit trails about Joe wants to go down, but so that keeps you from. You just totally derailed my train of thought. That's okay. I'm sorry. Basically, it keeps you from being able to frame a mirror without tearing it out, cutting the mirror down, putting it back on the wall. So our frames are flat on the back. It's an exclusive product that we had designed and manufactured for our purposes. And so our frames install flush on top of the mirror without removing it, without cutting the mirror.
So if you pick up that Michael's frame or that Hobby Lobby frame,
Yes.
then you've got like that
Groove.
finger width gap in there.
Right.
The rabbit in the back.
Yeah,
The rabbit.
yeah, because
The rabbit,
of the
right.
rabbit. A really small rabbit.
At least I know where to find my rabbit now.
Yes. And when you put that on your mirror, if you were to do that, it's gonna it's gonna deduct from your home.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes,
you don't
it
want to
is.
do that.
And then not only that, but you're dealing with the type of material of the frame.
Yes.
So not only do you have this great, quarter-inch gap that water can get into,
Right.
but you have a type of frame that's incredibly susceptible to warping and everything else because it's not made to be around water.
Right.
all that stuff.
And the MDF is by far the worst, which a lot of frames are made out of these days. And
Darn
basically,
MDFs.
I'm telling you, it's ground up sawdust with resin, and so when it gets wet, it just has a tendency to corrode, to bloat, to swell up. It's not a good thing for a bathroom, I wouldn't say at all.
I know a lot of people use it for molding and things like that. It looks great for a while, but
Yeah, but
after
once
you get
water and
moisture-
heat and
it's
moisture hits it,
introduced to it, it is not.
Right.
definitely not. Well, we're up against another break. Before we do so, how can we reach you if you don't mind?
MiracleFrames.com, and again, that's the word mirror, CLE, frames, plural.com. Also, you can call us 281-586-7785.
Say that number one more time.
281-586-7785.
John, I might be putting you on the spot, but as an awesome sponsor of the show, do you have any, Rat Pack promos?
Well, we
for,
can't do
our
this all
listeners?
day. We can't do this all day. But for our Rat Pack listeners, we are kind of doing a sneak peek to our May promo, which is $59 off when you buy 2 or more frames. And so it's a sneak peek, into next month. But say
Just
you
for the
heard
Rat
of
Pack
us.
listeners.
Yeah,
For the
and
Rat Pack
again,
listeners,
we
call
can't-
today.
Mention the Rat Pack promo.
And
That's right.
guests.
Yes,
by the
and
way.
guests.
Yes, and guests.
Sure.
We are coming against a break right now. We do have a caller. Stay tuned, caller. We'll pick you up when we come right back from this break. Stay tuned.
An irrepressible smile such as yours warms an old implacable heart such as mine.